Bad kicking is bad football. It was a phrase that I used relentlessly when I was coaching junior football, and not a truer word has been spoken. It's an old cliche, but my God, it rings true. And the game last night against the Giants was extremely, extremely frustrating on a lot of levels, but also very, very proud on a lot of levels as well. The Giants ended up mowing us down and knocking us off by 3 points after we did have, what was it, like a 28-point lead in the third quarter. And look, first of all, before we go on any further, I do want to give my thoughts to Callan Ward. I hate seeing players go down like that, and especially someone as prolific and as big in the game as him and such a nice person. Not good to see. So hopefully the scans aren't as bad as what it looks. But yeah, thoughts go out to Callan Ward. But yeah, 3-point loss to the Giants. Not great. It's very frustrating. 12-8-80 to 10-17-77. But before we break it down and take a look at what happened, make sure you go and like and subscribe to the channel. We're chasing down 3,300 subs. Let's try and get there as quick as possible. We appreciate all the love and support you guys give us. It means the world. But the inaccurate kicking, that's the tail of the tape for me. Our first quarter was unbelievable. I mean, probably our best quarter for the year, maybe even 2 years. The Carlton round one last quarter was pretty good, but this was another level, I think. 6 goals, 5. I think that was the largest return on an individual quarter that we've had under Uze's coaching so far. And whilst kicking 41 points in a quarter is great, you just can't help but feel that if we had converted 2 of those 5 behinds to goals and extend that lead a bit further, it makes a big difference. Then you fast forward to the second quarter where we kicked 1 goal, 6 behinds. That, to me, that's the quarter right there that cost us the game. I know we faded a little bit late. That's a lot to do with inexperience, a lot to do with the Giants being a very good side, and obviously an inspirational speech from Callan Ward at 3-quarter time. So plenty of factors at play there. But the reality is we should have kicked more goals in that second quarter. We had plenty of easy chances. Lynch missed another easy one. I think Sims and Fall missed a couple of easy ones. Steely Green missed an easy one on the run in the first quarter. Plenty of opportunities that we had ourselves to extend that lead and almost put it beyond doubt a lot earlier. And, as it turns out, it would have been enough to put the game to bed. But you kind of got to hope that we take a lot of learnings out of games like this, where even though the result didn't go our way, as a young side, there's still plenty of positive to take out of it. So we'll talk about, I suppose, the good and the bad. The first player I want to give a massive shout out to is Ben Miller. Now, I don't know if he's going to get the love and recognition he deserves from this game, but let's just remember he's kept Jesse Hogan goalless, and Jesse Hogan, he took 4 marks, 0 goals, 0 behind, 0 impact, which I think is a monumental effort, honestly, for any club. So Ben Miller, we know he's been doing really well in his one-on-one contest the last couple of years. For some reason, he still cops a bit of heat. I don't quite understand why. I think he's just a bit of a scapegoat for people. But that performance against Jesse Hogan, I mean, 9.5 times out of 10, if you keep Jesse Hogan to 0 goals, 0, you're probably going to win. So on that front, Ben Miller in the defense couldn't have done much more if they tried in that regard. So I want to give a massive shout out to him. Dion Prestia, shout out to him. I've made a previous video, but I think he's made a lot of people, including myself, eat some humble pie in relation to what output he could still offer us at AFL level. 31 disposals, our leading disposal getter, 1 goal, 2 marks, 5 tackles, 7 clearances. Super game from Dion. And look, I was skeptical on the return, but he proved a lot of people wrong, and that was a great effort from him. Jacob Hopper, 29 touches, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 13 clearances from Jacob Hopper. That's a crazy good number. And Taranto as well, 23 disposals, 4 marks, 2 tackles, 5 clearances, 2 goals. And Hopper had a goal as well. So I just wanted to talk about those 3 as our midfielders in isolation quickly. I know that me included, we're a little bit worried how that was going to function from a speed perspective. And I don't really think we got found out too badly in that sense. I know in the last quarter, the Giants got on top and they were running on top of the ground. Look, momentum shifts happen in football, and they had a lot on the line in that game. So I suppose we need a bigger sample size to see if it was more of an our fault or just them rising to another level. But in terms of, if you look at the first quarter and how dynamic our midfield was against a really good opposition, the Prestia, Taranto and Hopper mix playing at that level seemed to work. And to Tig's point on Wednesday night, what Dion doesn't have in leg speed, he makes up for with good decisions that he quickly makes with ball in hand. So that was really good to see from those three. Sam Banks, another really good game. 25 disposals, 7 marks, 2 clearances, 491 metres gained. He's starting, again, he's still just feeling really confident in this role, and I'm enjoying seeing what he's doing. Hugo Ralsmith, I thought he had a much better game, especially offensively. 23 disposals, 2 marks, 2 clearances, 454 metres gained. I thought he provided a good bit of run and dash. Didn't feel like he got found out defensively. Obviously had that really good, a lot of good one-on-one contest wins with ground balls. So I think he did really well. Kane McAuliffe is the other one I wanted to speak on quickly. 18 disposals, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 4 clearances, some really nice passes, actually hitting his targets now, and he only played 62% time on ground. I'm not exactly sure why that happened or what's happening in that space, but if that starts getting back up to the 70-80% time on ground, the output's going to increase substantially. So I'm guessing we're just managing his workload, but that was really impressive. So well done to Kane McAuliffe. I thought that was good. Of the youngsters, I think unquestionably Tom Sims, that was a huge game for him personally. The confidence he will take from that game is going to be astronomical. 13 disposals, 7 marks, and I think it was 3 or 4 contested marks. They were really impressive. 4 hit-outs, missed a shot on goal that he probably should have kicked. He was leading up really well as a forward, though, like actually leading to the ball carry, which was good. But it was those contested marks that he was taking, not only in the forward half of the ground or on the wing, but also he took a couple in the back half as well, which was really awesome to see. And I'm fairly sold on him being the takeover ruck from Nankervis when he calls time, whenever that might be. Obviously, there might be a bit of a period of transition where we might need a fill-in ruck because Sims might not be filled into his body just yet. But he is showing some great signs. That's as good as a marking game that you will see from a first-year tall, I reckon. Not often will a first-year tall player mark like that in a game. It just doesn't happen. They're just very easily moved aside. Obviously, like a little bit of confidence or belonging at the AFL level. So that was really impressive. It was Jonty Fall, 8 disposals, 1 goal, 2. Again, probably missed another one he should have probably converted. 5 marks, 1 clearance. Look, I thought it was another reasonably okay game from Jonty Fall. Just the competitive and combative nature of him is something that I just love. It's so great to see, and it's going to hold him in good stead for a long time to come. And look, there's going to come a point in time where he's going to get a bit tired and might need a rest, but it's the exposure he's getting at the moment on the defenders he's playing on. I think he's handling himself really, really well. And so to get another goal under his belt was a really good sign too. But look, from a team perspective, some of the team stats we had were actually really impressive given the performance we put up the week before. Inside 50s, 61, and this is going to all sound very painful because we ended up losing the game. But 61 inside 50s is a massive number. Our average is 45, so that was reasonably good. Efficiency inside 50, it did drop down in that from the second quarter onwards. At quarter time, I think we were at 68%, which is a huge number. Not sustainable, but a huge number. We end up on 42.6, but it just wasn't good enough, was it, unfortunately? Clearances, this is probably the area I'm most impressed with. We won the clearances 42-29 after getting absolutely torched the week before. So that is a good turnaround. It's a good sign that we've taken it as a learning from last week. We've applied some different strategies and mechanisms to get it back onto our terms. Obviously, the inclusion of Prestia helps in that space as well. But you want to see that. You want to see an improvement from a deficiency from the week prior. So that to me says we are learning and getting to work on things that are causing us issues in games. So that's good. Centre clearances were 16-5. Stoppage clearances were 24-26. So, yeah, pretty good all round on that front. Marks, we fell short, 84-105. Marks inside 50, we had 10. That's actually a really good number. Our average is 8.8. It was just our conversion. Tackling, we only had 43 tackles. We had 9 tackles inside 50. Obviously, you'd want that number a bit higher, but the game was going pretty well for the first quarter and a bit, so it's kind of a hard one to gauge, I suppose. But you know what? Overall, while it's obviously very disappointing to lose that game by 3 points, and when you sort of look at it a bit more broadly, if we had converted that, and if we had converted the North Melbourne game, which are probably the 2 games we feel like we should have won, we could have been sitting 12th, 11th or 12th. Then you chuck in the Essendon game where we were clearly in it and we just didn't have the experienced personnel at our disposal for that game. That's another one that maybe could have been in the bank too. So when you look at the bigger picture, when I think back to the start of the year in pre-season at that West Coast and Collingwood game and how raw and unorganised and I don't know what you want to call it, but you could see glimpses, but there wasn't a lot of meat on the bone, for lack of a better term, in those games, to where we are now, that we're now squabbling and bickering over just falling short or coughing up a lead against the Giants in Sydney. That's a good sign, right? That's a positive sign, as annoying as it might be. And I feel like we're playing ahead of our curve at the moment. So a lot of people, including Richmond supporters, including us, thought that we would largely be uncompetitive for most of 2025, just based on we lost 1,600 games experience, new coach, new game plan, new other coaches, 8 draftees, blooding all these young kids. Like, that mix doesn't tend to work well from being competitive. So the fact we are where we are is a really good sign. And we spoke about percentage the other day on the show. That's actually gone up now to 71. I know it's not 100, but I never expected us to be near 100, but I kind of thought we'd be near the 40 or 50 mark. So the fact we're at 70 and we're not the lowest percentage is a really good sign. And I know these are small things to take out of the game, and obviously 4 points will be much better, but we will learn a shitload from that game. The experience the players are going to get from that's going to be huge. And you know what? It's just an inaccuracy thing. That's all it was. And I feel like those things are things that we can fix. That's on us to fix. And please, I don't want to hear things about that was Uze's fault. That's not that game. That loss is not Uze's fault. He doesn't kick the ball for the players. He doesn't kick 1 goal 6 in the second quarter or miss easy set shots. If anything, the coaches clearly had the game plan in place that worked well enough to tear apart systematically a top 4 side in that first quarter. And the second quarter as well, we just didn't kick the goals to make that, make that even further enhanced. So the game plan was fine. Obviously we faded and they had a bit to play for in the last quarter with Callan Ward and things like that. But yeah, look, I'm disappointed, but I'm also super proud of the effort of the lads. And look, next week we've got a huge chance against Sydney. And now it feels like a game we should be winning that game based on their form and our form. Hopefully we can bring the same heat and the same application, and we'll hopefully get a better result this time. But let us know what you think in the comments below. How did you feel after the Giants game? I know we all would have been a bit flat about it, but I want to hear some of the positives you took from it. Was there any individual efforts that you were loving seeing? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And we'll be back on the Monday night show, 8:30 p.m. to discuss it all. Make sure you tune in live on YouTube, and we'll see you then. Go Tigers.